Welcome, my friend. The storm rages outside, but here, in the quiet of this story, I invite you to find peace. Let the sound of the rain and the distant thunder guide you as you drift into a place of calm. This story is my gift to you, a gentle companion for a night of restful sleep. Relax, let go of the day, and let the story carry you into dreams. I've always been fascinated by abandoned places. There's something about them, the silence, the decay, the stories they hold. So when I heard about the old carnival on the outskirts of town, I knew I had to check it out. My name's Mike, by the way. I'm a documentary filmmaker, or at least I'm trying to be. I run a small YouTube channel where I explore creepy places and share their history. It's not exactly Spielberg-level stuff, but it's fun. The carnival had been closed for decades. Rumor was something terrible happened there. Something so bad that the owners just locked the gates and walked away. Well, what a thunder, let's go. Okay, let's continue. The locals wouldn't talk about it, which only made me more curious. I packed my gear and drove out there one Saturday morning. The carnival was easy to find. Just follow the old highway until you see the rusted Ferris wheel looming in the distance. I parked my car and grabbed my camera. The gates were chained shut, but there was a gap just big enough to squeeze through. "Welcome to the show," I muttered. Stepping inside, the place was a ghost town. The rides were rusted and broken. The game booths were falling apart, and the ground was littered with old tickets and broken glass. It was like stepping into a time capsule, except this one was haunted. I started filming, narrating as I walked through the carnival. So here we are at the infamous and apparently cursed carnival. As you can see, it's seen better days. But what really happened here? Why did it close? And why won't anyone talk about it? I was trying to sound professional, but honestly, I was just winging it. I walked past the Ferris wheel, its cars swaying gently in the wind. "Creepy," I said, zooming in on the rusted metal. But not as creepy as that. I pointed the camera at a clown statue near the entrance. Its paint was peeling, and its smile looked more like a grimace. "Clowns. Why is it always clowns?" I joked, trying to lighten the mood. That's when I heard it. A faint laugh, like a child giggling. I froze, lowering the camera. "Hello," I called out. No answer. Just the wind rustling through the trees. "Okay, Mike," I muttered. "You're imagining things, keep it together." I kept walking, but the feeling of being watched didn't go away. I passed the carousel, its horses frozen in mid-gallop, and the fun house, its mirrors cracked and distorted. Then I saw it. Go on to the story, okay? A clown mask lying on the ground near the entrance to the funhouse. It was old and dirty, but it looked familiar. I picked it up, turning it over in my hands. "Weird," I said, holding it up to the camera. "Who leaves a perfectly good clown mask lying around?" That's when I heard the laugh again. This time it was closer. I froze, the clown mask still in my hand. The laugh was unmistakable now. High-pitched, almost childlike, but with a strange, hollow quality to it. It was coming from inside the funhouse. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling. "Is someone there?" No answer. Just the creak of the Ferris wheel turning in the wind and the faint rustle of leaves. I looked down at the mask in my hands. Its painted smile seemed wider now, more sinister. I dropped it like it was on fire, and took a step back. "Okay, Mike," I muttered, trying to steady my breathing. "You're a grown man. You're not scared of a stupid mask, or a laugh, or whatever this is." But the laugh came again, louder this time, and it wasn't just one voice. It sounded like a group of children, giggling and whispering. I turned my camera toward the funhouse entrance. The door was half open, the darkness inside swallowing the light. "All right, folks," I said, forcing a laugh. "Looks like we're going in. Let's see what's so funny." I stepped inside, the camera's flashlight cutting through the gloom. The funhouse was a maze of cracked mirrors and narrow hallways. My reflection stared back at me from every angle, distorted and broken. The laughter echoed around me, bouncing off the walls. It was impossible to tell where it was coming from. "Hello," I called out again. "If this is some kind of prank, it's not funny." The laughter stopped abruptly, replaced by a low, guttural whisper. "Mike." I spun around, my heart pounding. "Who's there?" No answer. Just the sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from somewhere behind me. I started walking faster, my camera shaking in my hands. The hallways seemed to twist and turn endlessly, like the funhouse was alive, shifting around me. Then I saw it, a figure standing at the end of the hallway. It was tall and thin, its face obscured by shadows, but I could see its eyes, two pinpricks of light, glowing in the darkness. "Hey," I shouted, my voice cracking. "Who are you?" The figure didn't answer. It just tilted its head, like it was studying me. I took a step back and the figure took a step forward. "Nope, nope, nope, nope," I muttered, turning and running. The laughter started again, louder this time, echoing through the funhouse. I didn't stop running until I burst out into the sunlight, gasping for air. I looked back at the funhouse entrance. The figure was gone, but the laughter lingered, faint and distant. "Okay," I said, clutching my camera. "That's enough for one day." I started walking back toward the entrance, but something caught my eye. The clown mask I'd dropped earlier was gone. In its place was a single ticket, lying on the ground. It was old and faded, but I could still make out the words "Admit One." I stared at the ticket lying on the ground, my heart still racing from what had just happened in the funhouse. The words "Admit One" seemed to taunt me, like an invitation I didn't want to accept. "Okay, Mike," I muttered, picking up the ticket. "This is officially weird." I turned the ticket over in my hands. It was old, the edges frayed and the paper yellowed with age. On the back, someone had scrawled a message in faded ink. "The show never ends." I shivered, though the sun was still high in the sky. The laughter from the funhouse had stopped, but the silence was almost worse. It felt heavy, like the carnival was holding its breath, waiting for something. I looked around, half expecting to see the figure again, but the carnival was empty. Just the rusted rides and broken booths, frozen in time. "All right," I said, holding up the ticket to the camera. "Looks like we've got ourselves a mystery. What do you think, folks? Should we see where this ticket takes us?" I was trying to sound brave, but honestly, I was freaking out. Still, I couldn't just leave. Not now. I walked deeper into the carnival, the ticket clutched in my hand. The laughter started again, faint and distant, like it was coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling. "If this is some kind of prank, it's not funny." No answer, just the creak of the Ferris wheel and the rustle of leaves. I kept walking, following the sound of the laughter. It led me to the carousel, its horses frozen in mid-gallop. The music box was broken, but I could have sworn I heard a faint tune playing, like a memory of a song. That's when I saw it. A ticket booth, tucked away in a corner of the carnival. It was small and rundown, the paint peeling and the glass cracked, but the sign above it was still legible. "Admissions." I walked up to the booth, my heart pounding. The window was closed, but I could see something inside, a figure sitting in the shadows. "Hello," I called out, my voice shaking. The figure didn't move. I knocked on the window, and the figure turned slowly, its face coming into the light. It was a mannequin, dressed in a faded carnival uniform. Its face was cracked and dusty, but its eyes, they seemed to follow me. "Okay, that's creepy," I muttered, stepping back. But then I noticed something else. The mannequin was holding something in its hand. A key. I reached through the broken glass and grabbed the key, my fingers brushing against the mannequin's cold, lifeless hand. The laughter started again, louder this time, and I realized it was coming from the carousel. I turned around, and my blood ran cold. The carousel was moving. The horses were turning, their painted eyes staring at me as they went round and round. The music box was playing, the tune slow and distorted, and sitting on one of the horses, was the figure from the funhouse. It was watching me, its glowing eyes fixed on mine. "Mike," it whispered, its voice echoing through the carnival. I didn't wait to see what happened next. I ran, the key clutched in my hand, the laughter ringing in my ears. I ran as fast as I could, my heart pounding in my chest. The laughter followed me, echoing through the carnival, growing louder with every step. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I had to get out of there. But the carnival had other plans. The paths twisted and turned, leading me in circles. No matter which way I ran, I always ended up back at the carousel. It was still moving, the horses spinning slowly, their painted eyes staring at me like they were alive. The figure was gone, but I could still feel its presence, watching me from the shadows. "What do you want?" I screamed, my voice breaking. No answer, just the creak of the carousel and the faint distorted tune of the music box. I looked down at the key in my hand. It was old and rusted, but it felt heavy, like it held some kind of power. "Okay, Mike," I muttered, trying to steady my breathing. "Think. There's gotta be a way out of here." That's when I noticed it. A small door, hidden behind the carousel. It was almost invisible, blending into the wall of the carnival's main building. The keyhole looked like it would fit the key. I didn't know what was behind that door, but I didn't have a choice. I had to try. I walked up to the door, my hands shaking as I inserted the key. It turned with a loud asterisk, click asterisk, and the door creaked open. Inside was a narrow hallway, lit by a single flickering bulb. The walls were covered in old posters advertising the carnival's attractions. The amazing fire eater, the world's smallest horse, the haunted funhouse. But one poster caught my eye. It was faded and torn, but I could still make out the words. "The final show. Witness the unseen." At the bottom of the poster was a date, October 31st, 1965, the day the carnival closed. I walked down the hallway, the laughter growing louder with every step. At the end of the hall was a door, slightly ajar. A faint light spilled out from the crack. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was small, with a single chair in the center. Sitting in the chair was a mannequin, dressed in a ringmaster's uniform. Its face was cracked and dusty, but its eyes, they seemed to follow me. "Welcome, Mike," a voice said, echoing through the room. I spun around, but there was no one there. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice trembling. The mannequin's head turned slowly, its eyes locking onto mine. "You shouldn't have come back," it said, its voice low and guttural. I stumbled back, my heart pounding. I didn't come back. I've never been here before." The mannequin smiled, its cracked lips stretching into a grotesque grin. "Oh, but you have. Don't you remember?" And then it hit me. The laughter, the carousel, the funhouse. It all felt familiar, like a memory I'd buried deep inside. "No," I whispered, shaking my head. "This isn't real." The mannequin stood up, its movements jerky and unnatural. "The show never ends, Mike. And you're the star." I turned and ran, the laughter ringing in my ears. I didn't stop until I burst out of the carnival, the sunlight blinding me. I looked back, but the carnival was gone. Just an empty field, overgrown with weeds. But I could still hear the laughter, faint and distant, like it was inside my head. I don't know what happened that day. I don't know if the carnival was real or if I just lost my mind. But I do know this: some places are better left abandoned. So if you ever come across an old carnival, with rusted rides and broken dreams, keep walking. Trust me, you don't want to see the final show.